The story begins with Dennis, a man working in an ordinary office. He works in the company and works hard so that he can be promoted, but his boss never appreciated his work. Do it. One day he is told that he has been transferred abroad. You get to go out there and work with new people. But he feels that the employees there are not paying attention to the work at all. Dennis tells his boss that we need resources. But the boss immediately denies his words. This makes Denise upset. And yet he didn't lose beliefs and decides that he will try his best. After some time, he feels that the rest of the workers are also like that. Now I started working hard. Denise is very happy to see this. But then he is transferred back to another country. Now Dennis feels that he has become a machine that just keeps working, and he becomes unhappy. And then suddenly a strange thing happened. Bacon bumps into him and he reaches a dark, dark castle. There is a demon king in this palace who is the strongest of his 4 calls, the soldiers who are called the Big Four. The first soldier is Yundra, the Lord of Fire. The second is the Gnome. There is magic in the earth. The third soldier is Suffield, who rules the air. Then, the 4th soldier is called in, and everyone is shocked to see that he is none other than Dennis. Dennis seems to understand something. I don't know what all is happening. The Demon King welcomes him and says that he wants Dennis to be a part of his army. Became a soldier. Dennis finds it all very strange. But the Demon King tells him that he has seen Dennis's work and that he knows that Dennis is a hardworking and understanding person. So he wants Dennis to be part of his team. Dennis refused at first. Because he thinks a human shouldn't work with demons. But when the Demon King tells him that you will get a good salary and have your own office and everyone will call him the boss. So Dennis gets into the idea. It is also called that if he doesn't want to, he can be sent back to his world. Dennis thinks the Demon King is actually a good one. A human being is a demon. But still he says that he is not worthy of this post. The Demon King explains to him that the boss was stupid and he didn't know Dennis's abilities well. He says he trusts Denise and she trusts him. It will help him reach his full potential. Dennis is almost about to say yes to a girl named Yaneth in the middle. You have to speak. She says that Dennis does not deserve the Big Four. The other 3 agree with him. So the Demon King decides that Dennis will be put to the test. Dennis panics because he can't fight. Yandra thought. Dennis doesn't have any special powers. So she attacks him so that his strength comes out. But then he faints. The Demon King rescues him and reveals that he fainted from the aura of power. Everyone understands that he's a normal person. Still, the Demon King says he trusts Denise's intelligence and gives Denise a different kind of test. He explains that the Demon Army and the other Demon Army want to work together. But a powerful race, called the Minotaur, it's very difficult to negotiate. King says that Dennis's test is to talk to Minotaur and get him to join the Demon Army. Dennis is terrified because he knows he has a very difficult job. Yanrahim, the chieftain of the Minotaur. She takes him to Terius and says that if he makes even the slightest mistake, he will be killed. When Dennis sees the terriers, he trembles with fear because Terius looks very dangerous. Dennis thinks he won't be able to make it work. Therefore, Yandra begins to talk to herself. But she also gets confused because Therese herself does not understand. He avoids everything and even throws garbage in his room. Yandri angrily tells Denise, that now takes care of everything. Dennis wanders alone in the hallway and thinks about how he should talk to Terius. Now it's all the same, it's in the hands. Dennis was sitting in a bar and wondering what to do next. She remembered how she met a man. There was talk that was repeatedly saying no, and everything seemed very difficult. He felt he had to leave now. But he didn't give up and finally changed his mind. When he came out of the room, he said he had an idea. Yandri told the Demon King that TS would not change his mind, and that he thought Dennis would fail the test. But Diamond, let's wait and see what happens, King said. Yandri went back to Dennis and saw that Dennis was there. He is collecting straw. He asked, what are you doing? So Dennis said he would talk to Terius. The machine it's impossible to talk to him. But Dennis said there was no point in giving up. He said that wasn't true. Because both are different. That's why trust is so important. He assured Yandre that everything would be taken care of. Yanrei noticed that Dennis's mood changed and went straight to meet Terrace. The next morning, Yanrei noticed that Denise was still. He is in the room and he started looking for her, but the room was full of garbage, so he thought the thing could not be done. Denise greeted him. But Genre angrily scolded him for doing so much shit and asked where Terrace was. Dennis said that the demon is talking to the king because he has decided to join the demon army. Yandere didn't believe that how Dennis changed his mind. Denise took her to Terrace and explained that she had not explained it to her properly. Dennis said that once he spoke of a foreign businessman who was repeatedly saying no, but the conversation became emotional, and suddenly he held out his hand offered to meet. The man said that in some countries, a conversation heavy with emotions is more important than cold of the things. Yantru understood that this was the cognitive gap that Dennis was talking about. Dennis said that when Teresa's eyes met, Therese decided to talk. Dennis said that whenever people go anywhere, they go to the grass. They slept, and when Yandere removed the straw in the terrace room, he had to sleep on the floor. So he was tired and cranky. Therefore, he behaved badly in anger. Yandere admitted that he should have thought on Terrace's behalf as well. Dennis said both of them. It was his fault and he apologized. Dennis said he's a grateful person for helping with the conversation. Therese left the castle. Everyone said goodbye. The Demon King tells Dennis that he has passed the test, so he is now part of V4. The Demon King told him to raise his right hand and gave him a bracelet that was the mark of the Big Four. He said that there is no need to be afraid and keep working with your thoughts and beliefs. Yandere also picked up his bracelet and got his bracelet. He said he has accepted it. But she still doesn't consider him a full member. Dennis was sitting in his office, and he looked at the chart of the group and thought that the command structure is perfect. He thought that now he would meet the rest of the members of B4 So he went to Slit's room. But his assistant Lynn told because he did not come for a long time, and he promised Dunn that she would tell Dennis about it. Then she came and told me that the Demon King was calling her because he was new to Dennis. You have to take responsibility. Both went to the Demon King. King Tring asked Dennis to talk to the Ogre's group. The rest of the demi-humans wield great influence, and their army is as powerful as the demon army. That's why people are afraid of them. The Demon King thinks he is a threat, but wants him to join the demon army and asks Dennis to take over the negotiations. Yandere said she would go with him because she wanted Dennis not to speak to Augur alone. He will be worried. After that, Yandere said that they should work as a team, and Dennis said that they should meet Janome because he is the leader of the army and she can help deal with Augur, but Yandere didn't want to go see her, so she told her, before you go, you need to prepare. We see Janome training Damien, and she says she's better than ever. Gaia asks Dennis what he wants to talk about. Dennis explains that he needs information about the ogre. Janome understanding, it turns out that Dennis's next responsibility is to talk to Augur. She explains that the leader of the ogre is a rude man and his enemies, he is called a dictator. But she tells Dennis because there is a dangerous demon behind them. Dennis realizes that he's Yandere's. He talks to her and asks what she is doing. Yandere explains that she has come to pick him up because he is running late. Janome asks him to take her with him, but Yandere gets angry and wonders why Janome does not respect her. Are you doing? So the story goes that Denise and Yandere are standing outside Augur's castle, and Yandere asks the guards, how long do we have to wait? So the guards say that they have not yet allowed Augur to come in. It's only a girl comes and apologizes for being late. But now we have permission to go in and she takes them in. When he meets Augur, and Yandere greets him. But Augur tells her to keep quiet and not to speak without his permission. Do it. He then asks if he can join his army and explains that only if they take the Demon King's head, he will be welcomed. Yandere gets angry on hearing this, but Dennis stops him and tells Augur to give us some time. We need to think about this proposal. Coming out, Yandere says she wants to kill Augur because he killed the Demon King. Of disrespect. But Denise tells him to calm down and tells him that Augur knows Yandere will be angry. It will give us an excuse to refuse. Dennis reveals that he actually wants to talk to Augur directly, but the fight begins. He does not want to do so, he is provoking them so that he has an excuse to refuse. Yandere says that's why she's angry because he insulted the demon army, and Dennis is also angry, but he wants to keep the peace because there was a fight. So the rest of the casts can also fight the demon army together. Dennis points out that it's okay to back off at any time in a conversation. Yandere realizes that she is right and apologizes for being angry. But Denise says that Andre did her too. It helped me to control my anger. That's when the girl again comes and tells that she is Augur's daughter and wants those people remove his father from the throne. She then takes him to the fort's food storeroom and reveals that Augur's race. The economy is in crisis and everyone is finding it difficult to get food. Denise says she's right because she's wearing the guard's armor. Only saw the ones that were broken and the hallway was cold and dark. And this is what happens when the big companies become dependent on their leader, and if the leader becomes weak, the whole system falters. And they say that it is their one way is to join the demon army. But he knows that his father is not ready to hear it because he's sick and hiding. He pretends that everything is fine, but now his strength is not the same as before, and if he dies there, something will have to be done, so something will be done. Dennis says that he should not tell about the illness of the father. But Oral says that she's telling him the truth because she knows Dennis is a good man. She then asks him to marry her so that she can become the leader of Augur, be able to save them and protect them. Yandere stops him and tells him to give him time to think first, and Sean Dennis sits in his office, wondering what to do now. Just then, the bar scene comes in front of his eyes again, where Yandere is talking to the tender outside. It has been said that the lion is stronger than the gorilla, and the group of lions is called Pride. Dennis seems to think that Yandere has the ability to talk and think of an idea. The next day, Yandere asks him what the plan is. And then the machine thinks, that should talk to Augur again. But Dennis says no, we have to go somewhere else because now Augur will hear that the tribes have started to join the demon army, so he will come to talk to himself. Dennis explains that he first surrounds them. We'll talk to the small tribes who used to take food from Augur earlier because he is also in trouble, and their target will be the same tribes as Augur near, so that with their help, the Augur can be celebrated. A week later, Augur calls them and asks why the surrounding tribes Damon joined the army. Dennis also planned that when a big company did not buy his products, he would buy a small one, sells the companies so that the big company gets jealous, and that too is forced to buy. Augur realizes that Dennis's plan works. Gaia and Dennis explain that the rest of the tribe had to join the demon army because they would have a more stable life there is. Oral arrives and explains that he has also helped convince the rest of the tribe, and explains that the dummy human is upset, and the only way is to join the demon army and not agree to Oral's idea. But Oral says that the time Augur has changed and is no longer as powerful, so he must work with the rest of the clan. Denise asks him what it is. He wants to form a group with the Demon King, but Dennis knows it won't make much of a difference. The other tribes have their own, they have the power. Just change the name if there is a proud leader. So he pays attention to the name and says that he will think. Everyone thanks him, and Dennis thinks times have really changed since his daughter learned how to negotiate. A few days later, Yandere tells Dennis that Augur has said yes to the alliance. But he himself is also confused because the Demon King told him to choose his most trusted partner. But he doesn't know how to choose. Then he tells the machine. He wants her to be his partner. So Yandere gets a little upset in the story. But then they came to. She tells him that she has been sent as an official emissary in Augur's praise. She thanks Dennis for his race. She says she's ready to do anything for him. Dennis tells her he's looking for a top helper for himself. And she gladly accepts the job. Yandere feels a little jealous and tells Denise that she is hers. He's an addict and he'll never help her. After this comes the office of Oral Dennis, and tells that the negotiations with the Bear People Burman tribe have been successful, and there is going to be a felicitation ceremony in which the reward will be that he helped to raise the demon army. Dennis says that he has never taken a prize before. There is excitement. Yandere then comes to Denise and gives her Gim's porridge, which is Gim's food. But Dennis tells that his taste is a little faded and he wants to eat meat. Yandere says, let's go hunting, and explains that they've been tasked with killing a magical beast that ate 5 dummy humans and the ox are unable to fight it off. Because it's so powerful. That's why help has been sought from the Demon King. They find mushrooms in the forest and Yandere explains that Ox was attacked when he was collecting mushrooms. When suddenly the magical beast came after him, Dennis is scared. But Yandere says she will take care of Yandere kicks her hard, but the animal immediately recovers and attacks her. Yandere escapes and then attacks him and starts beating him. Danny thinks of killing the beast in Yandere. Power is low. Maybe he needs a gun. Then Yandere goes full throttle and changes the door. She says that after using magic, he will have to rest. But it is necessary to kill the animal. The animal snarls at him. But Yandere grabs hold of his tooth and twists it violently, killing him instantly. She shows the body of the animal to the orphans and Yandere says she can eat it. Everyone is happy and an orph gives him his leg. Dennis asks if can you cook it? She says, yes, I will douse the fire. Dennis thinks she'll make a great steak. But he lights the fire and says that the food is ready. Dennis says he burned the meat. But Yandere says take Dennis eats and has a very bad taste. He looks at the oven and says use it. But the mechanic says that the oven, it is expensive and the salt here is very precious, so there is little. Dennis says it's so much enough is enough, and he cooks meat in the oven. The food was very tasty, and Dennis agrees to teach everyone how to cook. Yandere says that this will reduce the prestige of the Big Four. But Dennis understands that the development of a civilization can be traced back to food and drink. He walks, and he can see that the Ark has less resources because they can't even make meat properly. Yandere believes and says that the situation in their country is weaker than that of the surrounding castes. Therefore, as a member of a large army, change is necessary. On that day, they start to go back, and Yandere makes a fireball that lights the way, and the wild animals run away in fear. Yandere explains that demi-humans cannot perform magic. Damon thinks, what is sulfide? Are you a demon or a demi-human? Yandere says she doesn't know because he never comes to meetings, but thinks he's the demon because magic can do it. Yandere leads the way, but Dennis reminds him that he had a hard time fighting the magical beast. He didn't have the right tools. Dennis says that he should wear weapons and armor. Yandere is as angry when she hears him, and he says he finds it disconcerting. She explains that Damon is offended by Denise's words, and then he is there. Goes away from. Dennis thinks he should be caught. But then he heard the sound of wild animals in the forest and went towards the village, running away. The next day, Dennis reports to the Demon King, who asks why he returned without Yandere. Dennis is it worth living in? Because he was obsessed with it. The Demon King tells him that his quarrel with Yandere solve it. This will help them understand the world better. Danny keeps wondering why Yandere is angry. And he's feeling it. It happens that both demons and demons live in the city. He looks at people carefully and he thinks that Damon dresses less. Why do you wear? Then he remembers that only demons can do magic. He does research and finds out that for them, muscles are a kind of pride because they have to trim the body to increase their strength. So it's less wear clothes to show your strength. Dennis understands that Yandere felt bad when he asked him to put on his armor because he seemed to hide the body from her. Meanwhile, Oral is chopping wood and Yandere runs up to him and asks, how could Denise not even see his body? And does she hate him? So Yandere is reminded by Oral that Denise is absolutely with them. Is different. So maybe he felt a little weird looking at her outfit. Yandere thinks about what to do now so that Dennis be able to build a good relationship again. But Oral says don't stress him, because Dennis is a good man. And then we've got Dennis. Look at the bar. He is eating and tells the bartender that the food is very good. That's his speciality. Dennis, when he sees her smile, he knows what to do. He then quickly goes to meet Yandere and tells her. He's got a very good body. Yandere says she always wanted Denise to compliment her body. But suddenly both of them, it feels a bit weird. Denise apologizes if she offended him, and Jan says he should speak up, because he left her alone in the woods. Dennis says he wants Yandere to be his partner. Igandra a little bit gets embarrassed, and she thinks that maybe he is talking his heart out to her. But later it turns out that Dennis is just, I want to work with him. Then, there is a felicitation ceremony where the Demon King praises Dennis for his second successfully interacts with the races and also rewards him with a magical stone. Dennis explains that it's all because of Andre. That's why he wants to give this award to Andre. Yandere is shocked to see this and thinks that Dennis might be proposing marriage. That's why he's in front of everyone. Meanwhile, Belinda is watching them and thinks that the demons have finally killed Dennis. Accepted. Then the Demon King calls Dennis again, and Dennis wonders if he didn't make a mistake. Apologize. But Demon King says he's doing a great job. King tells him to find a way to get everyone. Find a way to do magic so that even the demi-human does not underestimate himself. Dennis says he doesn't know how to do magic. So the king gives an unpolished magic stone and says that he can take help from it. King explains that Dennis with Salit work has to be done which has already been agreed with him, but Chatanvi gives that Salit might be a little difficult to work with. Dennis comes out of the throne room and Yandere is looking at him and thinks that the work is going well and maybe she gave the magical stone so that he would marry her. Dennis sees the magical stone and realizes that it has the power of demons. They can be used in different ways. and gives him tea, and he asks him if the dummy human is also in. They can use stones and say yes, but they have to learn magic. Dennis thinks it might be. He can learn magic from Sulfide. He goes to Azalet's room but finds Belinda there, who tells him that Sulfide, it's not there. The door closes. But Denise wants to talk to him. Here's Andre standing, and when he walks in, he's irritated. Dennis asks Belinda if he's Sulfide. She refuses. But Dennis points out that damn human is strong. Likes the body. She usually doesn't wear glasses. Dennis says that his name is not on the list of the demon army. And the king pointed out that Sulfide often shows himself to someone else in order to avoid working. Belinda thinks she's selfish, and she says that she has discussed herself as a puppet so that people do not know her real identity. Find it, because then he will give him a lot of work. Dennis wants to talk to her about the magical outfit. Belinda says we have already made an outfit which is made of minerals so that magic can pass easily, and there are magical stones on it so that users can use it. You can do many types of magic. Dennis says it's amazing and says it should be made in larger quantities. But Belinda, it says that its price is 10 million, which is very high because magic stones are very rare, and this high-grade stone is... We need a bigger budget, he says. That's why she recommends leaving the design slightly changed, so that the user can only perform a kind of magic. Belinda thinks that this will do the wrong thing because low-grade stones are used, can be done. Dennis gives him the Demon King stone and tells him to use it for an experiment. Belinda work. She starts and says that she will have to stay up all night. So Dennis has to help. He takes her to his lab. It turns out that Andra is standing at the door and she thinks it's too late at night. What are these people doing? He opened the door. She tries, but the door is locked and she says loudly, "Let's go inside." The next day, Dennis looks tired. But Slade is happy because the outfit became that it's way from the prototype so it can be made in larger quantities. It's him I want to test right away. But Dennis says he has to rest. She lets him rest for an hour. Dennis, when Yandra suddenly comes in and asks, "Why did you spend the whole night here?" Yandra looks at it. Denise lies on the ground and thinks she is fine, but Silhouette tells her to keep quiet. About Yandra, Belinda, she asks, but Silhouette ignores. Then, Oral comes along with Demon Lilam and says that the villagers need help, because the Autobirds are attacking. That's a good opportunity, he says, to test Mary's outfit every day. It's all an open come to the place where the set does not teach magic. Dennis is a little scared that he won't get hurt. Because Silhouette, she says that if there is a glitch, then there will be only a little problem on her side. She tells him that magic is a part of her field and let the magic from the magic stone come into your body. Dennis makes a fireball and Oida starts to burn the bird and Rosemary loses strength and the birds begin to attack again. So Silhouette protects Denise with her wind magic. At the end, Rosemary burns and Silhouette says that Lugrid's stone is not good. As a result, the project failed. In the evening, the Huerta are eating birds, and Dennis realizes that Damon can't protect himself. Celit points out that these people are poor, I live here, but it's good. She herself belonged to the Elven merchant family, but left home due to troubles in Damon, he wanted to help them. Dan thinks of using Rosemary a little differently this time. Maybe it's because some things look bad at first, but if you do it the right way, it's great. The next morning, when the birds are coming back, Dennis makes formations out of Rosemary, and when the magic is on, then there is a loud noise, from which the birds run away in fear. Denise and Silt report to the Demon King that Rosemary, they can protect the villagers. King praises both and tells Silt to make it on a larger scale, and the village divide among the people. Silhouette thanks Denise and gives her a new artifact that allows her to cast fire magic 30 times. Denise returns to the office. Andra suddenly opens the door and comes in and knocks him down. Oral tells him that everything told me, so she feels genuine and thinks Dennis won't leave her because he gave her the magic stone. Was given. Then Dennis is at the bar and sees Genomo trading scouts that look very professional. Yandra to him. They say, "Take your stuff out of the store." Then the two start fighting, and Dennis thinks he's going to have to do his bit too. Attitude should be abandoned. Then he goes to the market where Denise's Yandra's outfit is cute and she looks different. It turns out Yandra had told Oral that Dennis had asked her to come along, so everyone thought he was going on a date. Yandra, she thinks she will attract Denise by wearing a riveting outfit, but Oral says that Dennis will not like it. Therefore, wear simple and chic clothes. Yandra is happy that she has listened to Oral, but Dennis says he's on a date. not for market research. That's why it is a bit disappointing. Dennis explains that their purpose is information. Gathering is to be done so that the demon army can grow quickly. A big officer to a businessman, Dennis understands, because his dressing is different, and he tells that the traders keep bringing good news and rumors. She's also Yandra. Recognizes and thinks that maybe he's dating. But Yandra says she is just doing research. The merchants them. He shows the gold items, and if he will buy 2 cups, he will give a discount and say that this cup is for the couple. Denise bought it. Yandra thinks Dennis is taking the cup for a drink with her. But Dennis says it's just a sample of the product. He shows everyone in the market and feels that due to the major policy, now new things have been found. But Dennis explains that manure is the problem because the population is increasing. Yandra explains that he used the root bava to reduce Jinu's bava. But the trader said that if the price is reduced, he will incur losses. Dennis thinks the wholesale price is also a problem, but he doesn't know what he wants to do. Then Dennis tells him that wholesale rates are the middle of the trade, which they buy wheat from farmers and sell it in shops. If the price of wholesale rate Gimu increases, the shopkeepers, they have no option but to sell it at a higher price. Yandra says that they should go against the wholesalers. But Dennis points out that these wholesalers are controlled by a large business group, the Guild. So he's very careful. Because their decisions can affect the whole country. Dennis says there are many more problems that need to be solved, but it has to be done one by one. He says that his market research has been completed, and now he asks Yandra what next should do. Yandra thinks maybe he's playing a date now. But then Janome comes and says that today is Ria's day. There is an old tradition in which people give gifts to their special people. But then a couple arrives and asks Janome for help. Because business is hard. He explains that he has been selling a food called kamosu for many years. But in the recent business is not doing well. He thought he would leave now. But one businessman, Butagiri, placed a big order. So he started working day and night to complete the order. But when the delivery was to be made, Butagun suddenly refused because kamosu has to be eaten in one day. Now his store is full of kamosu and he's afraid that if he can't sell them all, the store will go. Janome knows that Dennis is a good cook and asks him for advice. Dennis tastes the food and says that he knows how to save the store. He says that today he has to sell 300 kamosu. This food is one of the world's, the food looks like a machete. But there is nothing special in this. So he suggests that it has to be converted into different diseases. Couple it tells that earlier the elderly people used to like it, but now they did not, and the Japanese people did not even know. Dennis says that he just divide the work because he is less. The couple made a new work lentil recipe and went to another shop inside here and asked for help. This is what a boy named Beach Dynus roams around the market with a drum and asks everyone to celebrate Ria's day. But the Alps don't know about it. Dinesh tells them a story about a boy who used to sell kamasu to a beautiful girl. Loved it. But Raja stopped them from meeting because he wanted to marry the girl. They met and worked, hoping that one day they will be together. In the end, God fulfills their wishes and they live happily in the world of stars. Dennis tells everyone to enjoy working with their loved ones and theirs as well. Wishes can be fulfilled. Hearing this, people are ready to try. Dennis knows that from Janome he heard this story. He wants to use it for marketing because in his world, products are sold more everywhere. Couple his work shows the new rings of Musu, seeing which people buy a lot. Traveling wonders why young people now prefer it. At first, only the elderly liked it. Dennis explains that they have changed the target audience. Young people don't always work, That's why he is eager to learn new tastes. It can be the hottest product in the market. That night, the couple. He can't believe he sold everything and thanks Dennis. Dennis knows that Nomi also helped because Dan Humans said that he told everyone about Kamasu. The couple gifts her a Kamasu and Yantra panics. Is going. She wonders if they will eat together and Dennis gives her the cup and tells her to accept it as a thank you. But Yandra thinks that maybe he is preparing for marriage. She asks him what he will not do while eating Kamsu. So Dennis says that the success of their next mission makes Yandra a little angry and says that stop thinking about work. Do it! Dennis then reports to the Demon King and shows him the cup. He says that by selling the things of the neighboring country's army, profit is earning, which is a rich country. Dennis Sasson suggests that training with them should begin to strengthen the demon army. A special problem will be solved. But they have to sell something more precious than gold. The Demon King says you can sell every day. Dennis explains that Rosemary is a special technology of the Demon King, and he fears that other countries will copy it. We'll take it. King says that sulfate has a special talent, so it is difficult to replicate their success. They don't say if the technology, even if stolen, their talent cannot be taken away, and they will continue to innovate together. But the king warns Denis about the king of the Golden Country that he is hard at work. Dennis started his first business. Was going to go on the trip because now he has become a member of the Big Four. But Yundra warns him because the land of gold. The king is very unpredictable. He said that when a trader sold counterfeit goods, Raja fed it to a crocodile. Was given. Dennis is a little frightened. Dennis reaches the Rampage Kingdom, the land of gold. He knows that the important business of the army is food. But due to lack of food, they have to find a new stuff. If the conversation has been successful, if there is, Rampage Kingdom will give them a constant supply of gold. That is, the future of the D1 army is in his hands. He's the king's, but he goes in and introduces himself. But the king suddenly speaks in the middle that he already knows everything and asks that why has Dennis come to meet her after the provision period. Denise immediately apologizes because the attitude of the king is too big. The king asks why he has come here. Dennis shows King the things he brought with him that are the best constructed of quality silver. But the king immediately breaks them with the force of his lightning and asks if Denis can see him. Are you being stupid? But in reality, all was going according to plan. Dennis King shows Rosemary to Joe Monser. It has the power to destroy. He tells that the Demon King has a special quest, and the other country does not have it yet. Mary Rose and the family can save working people from slavery. He tells King to think about buying it. He calls his dog and says Dennis to prove it. Dennis activates Rosemary and the crocodile returns. But then suddenly the king snaps. Dennis prepares to throw the fireball. But King stops him with electricity. King understands that Rosemary is the truth. I work at it and say that Dennis is a daredevil who talks straight in front of it and even tries to burn the crocodile. King Rose decides to buy Mary and asks how much Dennis can make. Dennis says he can make $200 a month. But King wants him to deliver in a week. He already gives the money and says that he is from the demon army. He wants to take all the stones. Dennis tells Fulfit that 200 sets will have to be made in a week. But she says it's just now. The production system is set so the work will not be done so soon. Dennis reminds that he is already in the disaster zone. Supplies have been made. As a result, production has stagnated. He asks if she's tired. Sulfit promises that order will be fulfilled. Then Dennis's messenger arrives and Rose compliments Mary, asking her to add 100 more sets. Suffied, it keeps more workers so that production is faster. The first 200 sets are delivered properly and the workers rejoice. Dennis returns to the office and thinks that he has made 200 more sets. Now to deliver to the Rampage Kingdom. He knows that Rosemary. The magic power will run out in a month and will have to be replaced. He thinks that the king will give further orders. But suddenly it comes and says that all orders have been cancelled. King's messenger says he has found a merchant who does the same thing sold at half the price. Dennis is not convinced because Rosemary is only with the dumber army. Workers are discouraged because they have already ordered the raw material. The demons wonder why their new weapons didn't come, their leaders. There is a financial problem in the country, and they are just blaming Denis. Dennis thinks about what happened and feels the entire country is troubled. He apologizes to the Demon King and says that everything is his fault. But the Demon King says that it's a common mistake. What do you do after you've made a mistake? He tells Denise that he is waiting for her next move. Dennis wants to apologize to everyone. So apologies to Gino. But he says it's not necessary. It's from Sulfit he also apologized. But she says to go to work now. So Dennis was walking in the hallway when he was suddenly kidnapped. But he escapes and immediately apologizes to his kidnapper. He thinks he's causing trouble for them. Did it? She then realizes that it was all Andre's doing, and she invites him to eat. Denise understands that Andre is her. When she tries to please him, he thanks her. The atmosphere is very good, he says. It's only then that Oral comes in between. She brings a basket of fruits and everyone eats good food together. The girls fall asleep after eating and Dennis thanks them. He says he spent time with her. He thinks he's got some good talent. He thinks that the Demon King, he trusts her. So he will put all his strength to correct his mistake. Then we see the king of the Rampage Kingdom, who when Rose is talking to the merchant who made Mary, the Budagari king thinks that this businessman is amazing because he Rosemary is selling for half the price, but he did not want to know her secret. We come back to Dennis who thinks how are things selling at half the price? He knows it's impossible to fake Rosemary in less than 1 month because it's very difficult to understand. He thought to himself again, where he is playing a game with the bartender and answering, there is hesitation. Then he goes to sleep and helps her. She starts playing her guitar and Dennis thinks he hears a wandering voice. Feels good, but suddenly he realizes that perhaps their secret leaked from inside. He remembers that the everyday disaster, the areas were divided into zones. But he thinks the villagers will never sell it. Then Yandria comes and tells, it is that the daily bread that they had distributed turned out to be bad. The two walk towards the village where Monsieur recently attacked. It was villagers ask why the daily wages are not working. Or Andre says she has received similar complaints from several other villages Dennis realizes that the Rosemary kept there is missing. They also go to another village and find Rosemary everywhere. It has been stolen. Dennis tells Yandere and Oral to look at the list of villages where complaints have been received. Dennis in the evening. He goes with Yandere to the village where no complaint has been received. He asks her why she is going there. It's behind the tree they hide, and Dennis tells them to be quiet. Chandra thinks that perhaps a romantic moment is about to come. But he sees that there's something thieves are stealing Mary every day. Dennis realizes that the same thieves are selling Rosemary to the Rampage Kingdom. Dennis asks them, that's who they work for. But they attack. They kill them. The thieves are afraid to look at him, and they start running away. He wanted to follow them. But Dennis stops him and says that everything is according to his plan. It is being done accordingly. Buddha Garen continues to send Rosemary to the Rampage Kingdom, and the king considers him a wonderful merchant. Because he makes a large amount of products quickly, Buddha Garen says he's just doing his job and the customer who he is willing to give. We get to know that he is called Future Story because he bought those things and made money, earned what no one knew. When he came to know about Rosemary, he asked his artisans to make it. But that he said he couldn't do it. So he thought stealing was the right way to go because there is no right or wrong in business. He goes back to the Rampage Kingdom. But the guards there catch him and bring him in front of the king. The king tells that the Rosemary sent to Bodgoran's resentment is not working. He threatens her with his magic and asks if she bought bad goods. Has been sent. Dennis also comes there, and Bodagan recognizes him and says that Dennis is the most dangerous man in the demon army because he has defeated people of other castes. Dennis reveals that Bodagan was stealing Rosemary's from the demon army. So he made fake Rosemary, which looks perfect but has no strength. We learn that Denise gave Sufid fake Rosemary. He had asked to be made and ordered his army to hide them in the village. He asks Budhakarna if he has a fake, why is it every day? But Hakarna understands that his end has now come and begs to save his life. But the king killed him. Decide. Then a big crocodile comes which starts eating Budagring. But Dennis stops him by hitting a fireball. The king gets angry and says that he is not allowed to interfere in the affairs of the kingdom. Denise says the crocodile is stopped and asks the king to listen. He tries to scare the dragon. But Dennis explains that if he is killed, the whole kingdom will be destroyed. The king asked why. Because he thinks that Bodagan is just a businessman. And it's not special. Dennis explains that the Rampage Kingdom uses orange powder for gold, which is a very precious metal. The resource is there, and Bodagan is the only person who can bring it, because the country that makes it does not sell it abroad. This is because there was also a civil war. So they do not allow other countries to give their precious orange powder. They say that it's only Budagiran is entitled to do business with them. We learn that the country was destroyed after the civil war inside them and other countries were not helping them. But Budagiran gave them food and respect. That's why he died on the Grimy the Bringer was called a businessman because he also did business in the battlefield. The city was grateful to him and he made him special. Permission was given that he could sell goods with them. Dennis says that if we kill him, there will be a huge loss. Therefore, the king gave him, he decides to leave. But he doesn't understand why Dennis came in the middle because Budagar Garen and Rampage Kingdom, it had no meaning. Dennis explains that he is not thinking about profit and loss. Help only when there is someone to help. It's right to do it. The king laughs at his words and says that he is sleepy. Dennis says he's afraid a move now is happening. Then he helps her. Then he sees Oral, who comes with the thieves. The thief calls him his father. Oral Denise told him to bring her here. It is revealed that Dennis talked about Bodagaran after the Kisu incident. Information was collected. He knows that Bodgaran adopted children orphaned in the war, so he decided to save her. Then Denise tells Bodagaran that it is difficult to sell Rosemary far and wide. That's why they need a reliable business partner. Wugger don't understand why Dennis trusts him, but listening to her words, he promises to help from the heart. At the same time, he tells that he has heard that the guild is doing something wrong in their area. Then the Demon King calls Dennis and they go to Gim's house. Discuss the rising price due to which common people are starving because they are not able to buy it. The solution to the Dennis problem promises to do and recalls being warned about the guild, but does not understand that he supplies the game. Why stop? Yandre thinks that he must be doing this for money and that he should kill them. But Denis refuses. Izan decides to meet the master of the guild. The Demon King sends him on another mission. To the master of the guild, the servant arrives and explains that Dennis wants to meet him. But the master has no problem. To get to know Dennis, he is ready and only then Sul comes to him. Dennis wonders why she isn't hiding her appearance. Sul says she's going to bleed Call and she wants to go with him because there are also elf people in the guild, which will make the conversation easier. He is the head of the guild. The quarters arrive, but the master is not there. They wait for 4 hours and then he comes. He's the Viper Lord himself. The paint shows, but Sul recognizes her, and Denise realizes that she is a sibling. But their relationship didn't work out. Sul says that Denise has lowered her family's honor, and Denise wonders if she has just come to complain. But it tells Denise needs to talk to him. The master says that he wants to do the business of Jim, but the supply is less. So until then, he won't sell unless Dennis requests it. Dennis leans over, but the Viper laughs and says that was joking. That's game ready to sell in bags at Rs 500, which is the market price. Dennis is shocked to hear that the game is so expensive. Viper, he asks her to leave if she is not interested, and tells her that she should understand Dennis's joke because the world belongs to such people. It's funny. Coming out, Sul thinks of burning the guild's headquarters because they fooled Dennis. But Dennis says it doesn't matter. He didn't lose his dignity. Sul explains that she is Lord Paint. He's from the family, where the children of damn humans have been for many generations. Because it's hard for Alpha to have children happens. She is an angel. Their nature is also different because of their caste. The Viper was very greedy. He did the rest of the people. Together the elf burned the village and sold the people to the smuggler. That's why he left home. But Dennis says he shouldn't have argued before talking to Viper. What do they think they should do now? It's just a girl, Nia. He comes and asks for help. She explains that she is being forced to work for the guild. Tennis to help him see. Decides because she looks cute, but first she has to buy clothes. He buys a dress for Nia, and she says she wants to escape from her horrible life. Dennis promises to save her and tells her to tell his story. She explains that she was separated from her parents and had to work for the guild for little money. She tells that the guild is spreading rumors that people will not be able to buy food due to the upcoming problem. Dennis understands that the guild this rumor wants to increase the price of the game by spreading. Nia explains that the guild is stocking up so as to make more profits. Dennis seems to think that is there a discrepancy from the guildmaster? But here, it says that most of the officers are of Lord Penn and the rest of the members bribe and keep it with you. But Dennis thinks the guilds are very bad people. But they say there is no evidence. Can't do anything. So she says why not kill the Viper in his sleep? But Dennis says that they honestly you must fight. Being officers of our own strength and the demon army, we then come to the guild's headquarters. Dennis with his friends arrives therewith and tells Viper that they have to do an emergency audit. Dennis planned this surprise visit did so that he could find records of the game and its takings because he thought the guild wouldn't have enough time to find evidence to conceal. But the Viper says that go ahead and they all go to the warehouse, but nothing is found there. I'm sure Dennis doesn't happen. But he sees Kier Marcus at first and understands that Gim has been taken elsewhere. The Viper's own. The men arrive, and Dennis notices that they look very confident. He thinks he's already prepared, because they were aware of the audit. Viper explains that he had already given the bag of the game he was about to sell to a buyer given. So now they don't have any more Jim. He mocks Dennis and says that his plan failed. And then there's Dennis goes back to his office and notes that there was nothing different in the books. He doesn't understand how Gil hid everything. Taken. Salt thinks he may have used the Lord Paint family name. So there is no information about the transaction found. Dennis believes that this may be true. Salt then asks how the news of the guild audit was received in advance. She says, is there a traitor from inside who is leaking information and he knows who he is? We've been talking to Neo the Viper. Let's see. He thanks her for telling him about Denise's plan. She asks him where he put the game. The Viper gets angry and says that he has no right to ask questions. He puts his hand on her head and tells her the game is set in a caravan that patrols the border. Earlier, he used to sell goods by horse-drawn carts, so it was easy to hide. But he tells Nia that her parents are also helping her and says that he needs her for them. It should do well. Nia is terrified. When Nia walks around town, she thinks she's in the lower caste of the Lord Bane family. Why were you born? In the flashback, we see him eating with his parents. Just then the Viper comes and tells him that he needs Nia as your secretary. Her parents try to save her. But Nia says that she is the main I can't refuse home orders. She starts working for Viper. But the Viper kills him because he reminds me of Salt. When the Viper tells him to spy on Dennis, the world is forced to say yes. And then we're back. They come to the present where Dennis is walking around town and sees that everyone is hungry because they can't buy food. Then he thinks to himself, where the old members are. He talks his troubles that his boss is wrong are used. He thinks the company has to go up and make a change. Yandra takes him out of dreaming. And he says he's accomplished his mission. She shows that she has defeated 30 weigh-ins. Dennis knows he's the group. I attack, and Yandra says it was better to be 30 because he can be dangerous. Denise suddenly has an idea. And he himself is very confident that this will solve his problem. Nia comes to Denise's office, and she says she wants to help. Salt wonders what the next step will be as the surprise audit has failed. Dennis reveals that he has a clan, and goes with Yandra, and reveals that they have cooked Wayan's meat, which is created with a secret recipe. Dennis explains that he intends to take Y1 mass across the region to solve the problem of hunger. It has to be shared. She wants to know more about it. But Salt stops her because she doesn't trust Nia. Then Nia matches Dennis's files and sees his planning document. When she leaves the office, Salt grabs her. But Nia throws a smoke bomb and runs away. She reports to the Viper about Denise's plan and explains that deliveries will start from tomorrow. The Viper says people won't buy his expensive games until they're hungry. Therefore, he wants to stop Dennis. Viper asks him where the delivery will start. Nia thinks the Viper will cheat, and it says that the delivery will start from the starting areas. But the Viper knows it's a lie because it's right to start there. It won't be. The Viper thinks Dennis will start first on Center Street because it's the best place. He says that his cars will come back in the morning and people will gather to buy games because they are hungry. That's why Dennis came to eat. There will be no benefit. Viper tells Nia that she is no longer needed and that it is time to punish her because he lied to her. Dennis is in his office and Salt tells him to stop the delivery plan because the Viper knows everything has gone. She says that Nia is a spy. But Dennis says he already knew that because the first time he met her, he told her there was an injury on his chest. Denise noticed that Nia was hiding her body. Even though he's a demon, he felt that the whole body. But there are injury marks because the Viper has been beating him for a long time. Salt said that this is not evidence that he is a spy. But Denise said she looked into his eyes and remembered friends who wanted their boss's tyranny. Therefore, it is known that Nia is being beaten up and she is just trying to escape. Salt asked what to do now. Dennis said, that Viper knows our plan, but I'm sure he'll be successful. Then we go to the Viper, who says that his car is coming back so he can sell the game. Before Dennis executes his plan. But the next day, it is said that the vehicles have not yet arrived and have already started distributing Jim in the demon army. The Viper couldn't believe it. He thinks that where did this game come from? Just then Salt arrives and reveals that the old guardian has ordered the Jim from a neighboring country. He's smogged forest, the gum was bought by selling. Viper asks how the game was brought so quickly. Salt explains that Dennis planned everything in advance. Was kept. So he didn't get a chance. Dennis had put all his money into buying the game. But now people are getting it for free. So he is already bankrupt. Viper calls him an idiot and says that all this can't stop him. Then he runs away, but his ninjas attack him with magic. Salt avoids their attacks and understands that she is magic and martial. Art is used in both. She pulls out her sword, which she is constantly mending, and makes him stop their magic. Because his sword absorbs marine magic every day. She then fires a rapid ball of fire that hits a ninja, but says he needs to practice more. When the other ninja attacks her, she becomes a gust of wind and drives him away. He doesn't need weapons. The Viper on his defeat thinks that the loss is big, but he is confident that he will be careful because he is the leader of the guild. But then he sees that Dennis and the other traders have come and tells them that there is no longer a leader of the guild because most of the members have kicked them out. Denise shows voting results, but Viper does not believe him and says that the vote is not valid without a sign. Dennis explains that everyone signed the vote, participated because Nia told them to. We learn that Denise freed Nia from prison and that she took over her body. Showed the marks and told that the Viper kills him. The traders realized that Viper was a bad person and removed him from his position. Viper threatens Nia that her parents will feel bad. But he says he will protect her. Dennis tells Viper that he is no longer allowed to do business in the country. The Viper begins to ask for mercy. But in fact, I think that's what Dennis is. Dennis recognizes her selfish thinking and orders her arrested. The Viper fights, but Salt stops her and says that her game is over now. But Soldier prepares to take him away. Viper, he tells Denise that he didn't lie to people. Actually, there is a big problem. Nia apologizes to Denise, and she wants to be punished because she cheated. Denise asks him to come to the castle. But she understands that he wants to make her a secretary because he has a deal with her parents. We find out that the Viper's cars are late. I came because Nia's father had broken the wheels of imported cars. Dennis reveals that he painted Lord for him. Betrayed the family so that the demon army could protect her. Dennis asks Nia to help him reform the guild and she agrees. He promises to try his best. That Danius introduces her to Oral and Nia would be excited to work with him is. Then Dennis sees himself again in the bar. His friends tell him that everything is going well. But all of a sudden the world is going. Nia and Oral tell him that the Demon King wants to meet him because there is an emergency. We are the army of dragons. Let us look at the country. The Demon King understands that the hybrid has finally arrived. Yandra tells Denise that why is the number of 1 growing and they are attacking the city. The Demon King orders the entire army to fight. Yandra explains that the large 4 soldiers have a special mission and Salt has been sent on patrol and the other 3 have been given the responsibility to stop the attack. The demons reach the clay, which is made up of 3 claws and remains on the border of the country. Forest most disappearing attacks as clay is. They go there and Yayomi meets them. She calls Dennis a hero because she knows his achievements. But Yandra says that she is useless and weak and starts arguing with Yayomi. Suddenly the bell rings and the dummy humans tells that Y1 is attacking. Janomi asks Denise and Baggy to watch the fight. Everyone takes their place. A ball of fire is thrown, but all is lost. Demi-humans to leave Damon's way when the Vive ones approach, they say, and shoot arrows. But it doesn't matter. Demon and demon humans start fighting with each other. Yandra understands. It's all scattered. When a Vauban is about to attack, Yandra kills him with her eye. Denise looks at him. But there is another twist to the tale. Janomi shoots an arrow into his eye and cuts off his head. She tells everyone that they don't go in the range. All eyes should be targeted. Yandra tells Damon that Vauban is attacking as he approaches. All the people fight according to the plan and defeat the Vibes. But everyone was so tired. Oral and Nia, caring for the wounded soldier, do it. Yandra eats with the demons and Dennis gives the food to a Janomi. Jerome asks if the condition of the fort. What do you think about Dennis? Dennis says that the castle will fall in a few days because of the fight over the demon and dammy humans has been. Denise gives 3 reasons. Differences in battle planning and demons prefer to fight alone and dummy humans in the team. There is less food and the demons eat more because they need the magic power. Humans are disgusted by this. Both have been for many years. Are fighting. So there's a huge difference between them. Danny thinks that all this together will lead to their defeat because you can't fight it. Kinomi asks him how he will solve this problem. She shows the map of the fort and explains that one is a village. Danny thinks that Damon can be kept there. But Damon and Dammy humans have to believe that he's worked together. Janome says that Dennis is the only one who can do this because he is neither a demon nor a dummy human. Everyone knows his work, so they will listen to him. Dennis thinks that those people will not like him. But Janome says that she likes her looks, and a little, "We will celebrate it with drama." Everyone gathers at the gate. Janome reveals that Dennis will be the new commander. "It's all heroes I know and support him." Dennis says that Castle is in trouble. They have to fight together. If you follow the plan, you will win. Vivers come according to their plan. Dummy humans shoot arrows at them and Dennis Bell plays. Yandra orders Damon to move on from the village of Sunsao. They see the Vivans attacking the dummy human so they hit the firewall and the Vivans fall. Everyone celebrates because they won without any loss. All they are impressed by Dennis's planning. In the evening, Dennis tells Janome that they have to keep all the supplies at the base and every fort. It should be distributed according to need. Janome calls him a hero and tells him to stop saying it. Yandra came in the middle and asked. That's why she's embarrassed but leaves. Janome explains that the vibes are lost. Now the soldiers can go home. She explains that the Demon King is calling to report her and thanks Dennis because his words motivated her. Dennis thinks the operation was a success, but doesn't understand why Vivans paid so much attention to a fortress. Only then Oral Onia arrives and explains that the Wyverns have attacked the remaining 2 forts and are now heading towards the Demon King's attack. He goes there but is fighting the battle alone. Yandra attacks with her fire, but a forest pushes her back. She thinks that now she has to put all the strength because she also wants to be a hero like Dennis. It's growing fast. One war I will kill him. But it suddenly vanished. Nia takes care of him and discovers that Yandri has done most of his magic power has been spent. So he needs rest. Denise thanks him for protecting the castle and the Wyverns. Promises to end. Oral explains that Vives has attacked several villages, including her home, and injured her friends. Dennis tells her to go back home and that he will give her protection. And when Al goes to Dennis Vives's, he studies behavior, but he feels tired because he has not got sleep. But he still wants to work, because he thinks that only he can make a plan to defeat Vivon. Dennis then thinks himself in and out there. The Demon King tells him to rest. It is said that he will not be able to make a good plan until he sleeps well. It is understood that the Demon King is right. So he decides to sleep. He thinks maybe that's why he dreams of the Demon King. He sees her because he loves her. But then we see that someone is watching him sleeping. The next day, Dennis feels better and goes back to work. He meets Janome, who tells him that Yandri's condition is not good. Therefore, the strength of the army has been reduced. Dennis explains that he has a plan. He says that the female table is more than the Brother Forest target. So they attack the 2 forts because Yandra and the rest of the female soldiers have left their fort. Dennis thinks the ones want to capture Yandra. They even followed him to the Demon King's palace. Gino thinks he is right and asks what to do next. We see that Ren speaks to the soldiers and it says that the time of the last battle has come. His plan is to bring the female demons in front of the wives so that they distracted and the others could defeat them. Everyone is a little scared because if this plan fails, everything can end. Dennis says he's no hero. He is not as powerful as the other Big 4 members. He says that he is the world's, it's not even part. But still, everyone is different and everyone needs a hero. But he says that there is no one in his country, he's not a hero. Only he can save his family. So, they have to fight together. Everyone is stunned on hearing this. Go and get ready to kill his plan. Then Dennis says he's upset because so many lives are at stake. But he's scared. Gromi hugs her and explains that her mother used to do the same when she was nervous. She says that he has to stay strong because he is very important to the demon army and he has to lead the soldier. Vibrations after a short time attack the fort. The damn humans shoot arrows at them, but they move directly towards the female demon. The female demons of the walls stay behind and the male demons are around to save them. Dennis sees that he is less in number and the fight is difficult is happening. Just then, Janome goes ahead and kills Vivans. Dennis was leading the soldier, and Solfed, using a magic tool, creates a ball of fire. In the end, they defeat Vivance and think that the battle is over. But suddenly, there's a strange light, and a dragon comes into the sky. The dragon attacks Clay and everyone panics. To crush the dragon, Dennis, he tries. But Yandere suddenly arrives and saves her. Dennis wonders how he got here. Yadav explains, she couldn't sleep because she knew Dennis was in danger. That's why he couldn't find her. The dragon attacks him, but his strength and magic are not yet fully healed. Still, she remembers what she learned from Denny and is full of her strength. Take advantage of... He broke the dragon's hand. Janome also comes and cuts off the dragon's other hand. Solfid also joined the battle. Becomes and reveals that he has heard Dennis's lecture. The dragon is about to leave the fire, but the three of them together defeat him and his body has shrunk. Yundandra collapses and explains that her strength is now gone. She tells Denise, victory bells are ringing. But then an earthquake occurs and a mountain begins to shake. We see that he is actually a very big demon. Dennis thinks he won't be able to beat her, but the Demon King suddenly arrives. The Demon King says he's this Disitor demon will face. Damon attacks him with a powerful laser, but Raja saves everyone by making a shield. And then he's got his gig. Death uses the spell to create a large dark ball that falls on the demon. This causes a huge fire and Damon is killed and his body disappears. Dennis thinks that the Demon King is very powerful, but the king tells him, now, to announce the end of the war. Dennis tells everyone that he won and everyone celebrates. To Janome, Dennis, Damon, and Dam ask to help Human because he needs his team, but Yulandra won't let him go and strangles him. It starts shaking. The Demon King then summons the Big Four members and rewards them for dealing with these disasters. The king compliments Denis and says that he has to talk to him privately. Dennis promises to serve the Demon King will work hard. King asks him what it means to be king. Dennis thinks that King is the leader of the country, but the Demon King falls silent. Dennis thinks that maybe his answer was wrong. Then the Demon King says that it is actually Dennis. He should be king. Dennis panics because he feels he doesn't have the skills needed to be king. But the Demon King tells that Dennis is very talented and has solved all the problems of the country. That's why he has his "you have to trust your skills." The Demon King thinks something is stopping Dennis and tells him to think about it. Need time. After that, Dennis thought that the stress and pain he was under was sitting on top of him because his officers had given him so much. Was persecuted. So he feels that he is not ready to become the king because he does not have the full power to save the country. The Demon King says that Day is thinking right. The real king is the one who runs the country properly. But people think it's just all that matters is power. So he wants a Demon King who is very powerful. But it's only pain and suffering. Because illegitimate and useless kings come to power. The purpose of the Demon King is to eliminate all such kings, and he wants to Dennis took the throne. He knows that Dennis doubts himself. But the Demon King is convinced that in Dennis, there is ability. Then we come back to Dennis. He thinks he's a coward because he doesn't want to take risks. He remembers. He says that when he first came to this world, the Demon King told him that if he did not want to do this work, then return to his own. You can go back to the old life. Dennis thinks he doesn't deserve to be king and decides to resign. He prepares to give his office to Oral. But then he receives a letter from the owner of the store named Kimos. His business is going well, and he thanks Dennis and then calls him to meet him. Dennis seems to think that he has to go. He remembers when he was sent abroad, and the most painful part was leaving. Oral Onia understanding, Dennis is about to resign and tells Yandra about it. Dennis resigns, and then his you imagine in the outside and think that after resigning, he will not remain in the Big Four. He remembered how much he had worked with good people and had the best boss. He thinks it's the perfect place to work. But I don't feel strong enough to be with him. The bartender gives him a lot of food, which surprises Dennis. Because he didn't ask for it. The bartender states that it is free because the bar is about to close. Dennis thinks it's all happening suddenly and he doesn't know what will happen after the bar closes. The bartender says he needs to go there now. No, because he himself understands it best. Danny decides to say goodbye to everyone and talks to Janome, which sees a dummy human fighting the demon. Janome explains that she spoke to Yandra, and the two decided that the dummy human should be trained with the demon so that he can do a better job going forward. But he's not sure that both groups. How will she lead together? Because what will she do if she starts fighting? She tells Denise that she shouldn't be afraid of change, and don't doubt your abilities. At the same time, she reveals that she still needs Dennis's help, especially working with Alondra. Denise wants to tell something but goes into a trance and says that she is always there whenever she needs help. Will remain. Dennis then meets with Sophie, who reveals that he has created a team that will make Jin better so that more can be created in the future. Production can be done and the problem of manure can be solved. She says that at first she doubted herself and avoided the issue. But then, she turned herself in because she wanted to help the dummy humans who fed her hungry stomach. It's Dennis. She thanks him for helping her change her perspective and says she should listen to her heart because that's the right answer. Will give... Dennis thought about it. Just then, Yandra suddenly arrives. Dennis tells him that the Demon King wants him to be his upper became an officer, but he doesn't know what to do. Yandra reminds him that he forgot the most important thing. They're both partners she will always be with him and asks him to believe in his abilities. Denise suddenly begins to cry and Yandra's thank you for being so kind to her. Dennis then decides to tell the Demon King that the others have killed him. He told them not to limit themselves. He says he's ready to take over the throne, but he knows he's the demon. King is not as powerful, so he will do things differently. His goal is to become a king who fulfills his wishes. There is no need to resort to force. He knows he still has a lot to learn, but he'll try his best. The Demon King, 2 promises that he will guide him so that he becomes the greatest leader in the world. And that's where the video ends.